Life is like a big merry-go-round. You're up and you're down, going in circles trying to get to where you are. Everybody's been letting you out, but where are they now? Sitting in the same old places, faces in the crowd. We all make mistakes, we might fall on your face, but you gotta get up. I'd rather stand tall than live on my knees, 'cause I'm a conqueror and I wanted some defeat. Try telling me no. One thing about me is I'm a conqueror. I'm a conqueror. Oh.
If you're here, and you've ever written anyone off because of who they are or what they're going through, it could have been a loved one, could be your relative, could be a child of yours, and you've written them off because whatever they're going through, or you might just have written yourself off because of what you've been through and what you're going through. You think there's no hope, so you've written yourself off and you've surrendered to whatever or where you're at this point in life. Because of my life experiences, I wrote myself off a long time ago. Sitting here in front of you right now is a 55-year-old man. 55-year-old man. However, there is a little boy still inside that went through a whole lot, that is still on a journey trying to meet this 55-year-old man who has done some work. Within there is a little boy who, it's great when you can sit, or for me it's my mother, and they tell you stories from birth and how you can connect it to some of your behaviors. And I was grateful for those conversations with my mother. And here's a little boy who was afraid of intimacy from birth. A child who did not want to latch on to his mother to be breastfed. So as I do the work, I look, and yes, it reflected fear of intimacy. A little boy who did not know how to speak up for himself, who when he was hungry, instead of asking to be fed or even cry, he went in a corner and just fell asleep. So did not know how to speak up for himself. A little boy who was sexually abused for many years. And that brought a lot of confusion in terms of sex and relationship. Here sits a little boy who thought because of his sexual preferences would not be loved, that God would not love him, his family would not love him, the friends would not love him. So those are all the things that this little boy in here, he's still there, trying to meet the new Lloyd, And as a result, I was introduced to alcohol first, and it was great. It numbed the pain. I didn't have to deal with any of those issues, but it was just temporary. Then I was introduced to cocaine. Then I was introduced to crack, and that took me on a 20-year-plus journey. I lived to use and used to live. I had to have my drug. I just thought that there was no other way out. I used to sit at the bar and I would say, this is the life. I did not imagine myself living differently. Just consuming drugs day after day, day after day. And as I found out that drugs is a progression. So it progressed, where I started out one drink, two drinks, and what I found out that addiction is made up of obsession and compulsion. So I'm always thinking of how I'm going to get the next one. And I'm just going to do one. I'm just going to have one drink when I go out tonight. And next thing, once I pick up the first one, I didn't know how to stop. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't go to work. So my addiction separated me from my family. I couldn't show up, for their events. I lost job after job because I couldn't show up after I got high, the whole night. So all of that took place, and the hurt, but in the midst, I also realized that as I prayed a lot, and thank God for my grandparents and parents who gave me that foundation. I still knew who God was. And I would pray constantly, as they would say, a foxhole prayer, like, God, stop this. But at that point, I was not willing to totally surrender. So I prayed basically when the drugs ran out and there was no more. So that's when I prayed, God, I don't want to do this anymore. Let it stop, let the hurt stop, just to go right back. I'm so grateful that my family and friends, especially my family, they never gave up on me. They never gave up on me. My friends, never gave up on me either. And I'm really grateful for that. Maya Angelou said, and I love what she said, she says, love liberates. And we have to sometimes let people go in spite of how much we love them. And I remember my liberation. I remember my mother liberated me, like when I just started using, and I'm so grateful that I was able to share all this with my mother years even before with my sisters. Exactly what I'm saying here, I was able to share with her. And she was a praying woman, and she liberated me. I remember specifically it was a Sunday, and I spoke to her. She was in the bedroom, and I told her everything. And she held my hand, and she said, in spite of what you're going through, keep your head up high. And she liberated me. She never left, but she liberated me. My father, who could be a hot cracker sometimes, but I remember making a geographical change, but they say you take you wherever you go. And I remember my father, and as I look back now, the way that he liberated me is that, he showed up. Once I made that trip, he found, because I was like, I'm not gonna let him know where I'm at, because I wasn't sure how he was gonna respond, but he tracked me down. And he found me. And he was like, it's okay. So that was him liberating me also. It's a liberation, and being liberated and waiting like the prodigal son to come back home. They did not stop loving me. They were just waiting for me to come back home. I remember my sister, my eldest sister, invited me to this place, this spiritual place called Unity. I could say that, right? Unity of New York. And she said, come and try it, because here you're going to find folks who are just like you. People are going to accept you for who you are. I have a home-based church, but she said, try this. And I went there, and I loved the meditation. I loved the fellowship. I felt at home, I felt comfortable. You know, when I saw them, like they got up there and they sing, and I felt like I was partying and the energy, and that attracted me to unity. And I remember in December of 2002, my sister told me, well, they have this thing that they call the burning ceremony. She said, why don't you come? And by then I was trying to do different things to diversify my spirituality, you know, to get from different, and today I still do that, get it from different places. And I went to the ceremony, the burning ceremony, and I remember being told, you know, write a thank you letter to God and thank Him for the things that not things that He has done, but things that you want to happen, or blessings. And at the end, you will give this letter to them. Then the following December, they'll mail it back to you. And you could look and see if what you prayed for came through. So I did that, and at the end, you walked outside, that was the old unity, and you threw the letter and it burned. On Mother's Day 2003, which is May, Mother's Day is in May here in the United States, God sent an angel to me. My angel came, and my life has never been the same since then.